Welcome, dear learners, to this exciting podcast on digital transformation and financial inclusion, where we will decode the economic trends and their impact on the real world financial systems. I am Shreya Garg, Assistant Professor of Economics at CDOE Chandigarh University, and today we will explore a topic that is transforming the global financial landscape. Is cash on its way out in the digital finance revolution? From mobile payments and UPI to cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies, the CBDCs, digital transactions are becoming the norm. But does this mean we're heading towards a truly cashless society? Or is physical currency here to stay? What are the implications for financial inclusion, economic stability, and monetary policy? To unpack these pressing questions, we have with us Dr. Richa Sharma, Assistant Professor at University School of Business at Chandigarh University. With a distinguished academic background and extensive expertise in finance, Dr. Sharma has been actively engaged in research and teaching, shaping the next generation of scholars and professionals. Her insights will provide valuable perspectives, making this discussion both enlightening and impactful. A heartiest welcome to you, Richa ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I am also very excited and highly privileged to be here and to discuss the highly relevant topic that is digital transformation and the financial inclusion.
Glad to know, ma'am. So let us start with the basics. What do you think are the key factors that are driving this digital transformation?
The rise of digital finance is fueled by a combination of technology, policy changes, and changing consumer behavior. And if we talk of this transformation, this is not an overnight transformation. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, he once said, I dream of a digital India where mobile wallets and e-banking would ensure financial inclusion. And yes, I really feel so. Day by day, technology is evolving and we have various innovative financial solutions that would enhance basically digital finance in India. And this transformation, let me tell you how this transformation took place. We can say, the introduction of or the evolution of digital transformation, it took place in with the introduction of Information Technology Act that was in 2000. Where we had deregulation and liberalization of financial products and financial policies, and privatization was there. So that was the basic, or we can say the base grounded step for digital transformation.
Forms by the
1991 reforms, we had LPG reforms. So that was the base. And after that, we had in 2009, we have financial crisis. And those financial crises, they led to the innovation of UPI, Unified Interface Payments. So the advent of Aadhaar card and its linking with bank account of customers was the next steps towards digital banking in India. The introduction of Payment and Settlement Act 2007, it gave us strong and legal remedies promoting digital transformation. I feel we had the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, which provided RuPay debit card, and which basically gave so the people who were not earlier the part of digital transformation and banking, so they got involved. So basically, it gave a weight towards financial inclusion in India.
Do you think demonetization has also contributed?
A vision of cashless banking, it was much more strengthened during demonetization phase. So as a result of this old currency notes, which were no longer the part of financial system, they were replaced with the new currency notes. And demonetization, basically, it has created a buzzword in e-commerce transactions. People in both rural areas as well as urban areas, they started developing the taste of digital transformation or adopting e-delivery channels of bank. Also, the speedy transactions, they made economic activities much more vibrant. Then cashless transactions, they were done using different methods. They can be using mobile wallets, it can be using plastic money, net banking, or we can say Aadhaar card enabled system. And most of the retail transactions, they were completed using POS, that is point of scale.
So, do you think that there exists a digital divide? Like, there are some people in rural areas which are not able to access digital infrastructure.
The biometric authentication of Aadhaar card, it was a perfect signal for banking transactions by replacing the signature. Not only cashless banking, but also faceless banking was initiated during demonetization. Then COVID-19 pandemic phase was it had a paradigm shift in the digital transformation sector, we can say. The digital products which were not evolved earlier, they got elevated during these difficult times. The major transformation in banks during the pandemic period is a drastic change in usage and awareness level using e-delivery channels of bank. So e-delivery channels, they existed much before, but people started adopting it, and the awareness level regarding that got elevated or increased, we can say, during those tough times. So people who were reluctant to move towards electronic banking applications, they were considering as a easy mode shift. It was a mobile banking basically provided a boon to banking industry, and it was a savior in those physical or those tough times. Even if we see the local vendors like fruit seller, vegetable sellers, they begin to use QR code on they got QR code installed on their stalls. And as of now, digital practice is being adopted as a behavior in day-to-day activities, like payment of bills, recharge, mobiles, dish TV. So this all things have become a part and parcel of everyone's life. Even if we see the Blinkit and this Instamart, Swiggy Mart, Porter services, these involved much more today. Even if I see yesterday, even you know that Valentine's week is going on, I was doing my evening walk. So I could see yesterday the Swiggy and Porter man, they were carrying the roses and moving here and there. So this made me remember of our times, that at our times we did not have such services, and it was really a surprise. So this gave me an idea that yes, we can say in real life also digital transformation is happening, and which was the dream of our prime minister, and it is some way it has been becoming turning into reality.
And make me feel old. Okay. So, do you think there is a digital divide in India? That there are people in rural areas who are not able to access digital infrastructure?
Yes, of course, there is obviously divide between people of rural areas and people of urban areas. People of urban areas, they adopted digital payments very quickly as compared to people of rural areas. Even I belong to not rural, basically a small town. Where my parents are not where Blinkit services are not available, they get surprised when we order something via online. So, as compared to here. So yes, there is financial literacy basically is the major reason, which is the reason for gap. So even if we see in Chandigarh also, those fruit sellers and vegetable sellers, they do have QR code installed in their stalls, but they are not aware that whether the payment has been credited into their bank account or not. Sometimes even when I'm traveling, they have the QR code of their kids. So they after that, after some time, when I made the payment, so that uncle kept calling to his son that please check whether the payment has been received or not. So yes, financial literacy gap is obviously there, but this is a great change. This is a drastic change that people of more age, they are adopting digital payments.
And I think digital infrastructure is also one of the main reasons that rural people are not able to access?
Yes, poor connectivity, network issue, server errors. This is one of the major reason. Even we people, we travel, we don't have cash. Even I came here, I don't have a single rupee cash with me. So it feels difficulty when the server error is there, network issue is there. Even this again recalls me of a time I was traveling somewhere and my phone got switched off, and I was very how could I make the payment? Then very hardly I managed to get my phone somewhere charged with 2-3-5% and to initiate the payment. So this type of thing can land you in some problem someday.
We have to carry cash at least. I think network issues, poor connectivity, all these are the issues that we face here also, not only in rural areas, sometimes here also this happens. Have to get really carry cash with us.
Yes, sometimes the servers of bank there is a problem.
That was very insightful, ma'am. Also, can you please share that how digital transformation impact informal economies like India?
Great question. Informal economies operate largely in cash, so making them harder to regulate. Digital finance could formalize these transactions, increasing tax compliance, economic transparency. However, enforcing digital adoption among small vendors and daily wage workers require behavioral shifts, which definitely need take time.
I think about countries like Sweden. Do you think that can India reach somewhere near Sweden in becoming that cashless?
Sweden and India, both the countries have different financial landscapes. Sweden has high digital penetration and a small population. But if we talk about India, India has a diverse economic segments, and the population is large. So a fully cashless India is unrealistic in the short term. But we cannot dream of cashless India, but definitely we can achieve less cash economy.
I think the large population of our country becomes a challenge in solving most of our issues, be it poverty, unemployment, digital transformation, and so on.
Financial illiteracy and financial inclusion, these all are the barriers, we can say, which we need to strengthen towards digital transformation.
Ma'am, what do you think are the latest innovations in this digital transformation that India is coming up with?
See, I feel voice technology is the latest upgradation in towards digital transformation. Although the feature of voice technology was evolved much before pandemic, but this AI based voice technology or Alexa banking, this was much more promoted during pandemic times. So this voice technology feature has not only led the banking sector or digital transformation towards cashless and faceless banking, but it has also led to harmless banking, where people were supposed to be inside the doors. So at that time, with the help of basically voice technology feature, we can access our banking transactions using our own voice. So Alexa banking, it was IndusInd Bank was the first bank who launched Alexa banking. So this feature of bank all, and after that we have now WhatsApp banking. You just need to message hi to your bank, and you have just have to save the mobile number. And if we see, because we know that nowadays cyber crimes and fraud alerts are too much, right? So researchers, they or experts, they analyzed that messages through WhatsApp was has more are more reliable and fraudless as compared to our SMS, or we can say text messages, because WhatsApp messages are end-to-end encrypted. That means that neither the Meta is going to read our messages, and nor they are going to sell our data to the third party. So WhatsApp messages are more reliable, we can say, than text messages.
But I still feel safety concerns are there. At least I feel security issues while going for
Yes, lots of fraud alerts are there. Lots of even we receive many calls that your so and so number is there, and right. So again, in order to remove the cyber crimes, cyber frauds, so awareness should be there. And I think government is taking enough initiatives. They are sending us text messages, do not share the OTP and all these. Even our parents and everyone, they know that not to share our personal details with everyone.
awareness is the key, basically.
Yeah. So that is what for we are here to create the awareness among students.
So finally, the big question: will India become cashless?
Great question. India has a diverse population. It cannot become 100% entirely cashless, because we can say cash is still trusted. Even our parents or people of senior age or old age, they still prefer to give cash. Even when we go to our relatives' house, we when at the time of leaving, we receive cash in the form of shaguns. So if they would give us online payment, so that would not give us that much pleasure, right? So cash is, we can say, still trusted. Uh, Also, financial security risk is there. Cyber security and fraud, they make people hesitant to switch towards entirely to switch towards digital payments. And third thing which can be there, that is infrastructure gaps. Right, not every region has a technological infrastructure that would support digital finance.
Right. So I think we'll become a less cash economy, as you said, rather than cashless.
So this can be, I think, a mix, not cashless, or not, we can say, digital. It can be phygital. So physical cash plus digital. So there can be a hybrid, or we can say mix of both.
That's a very interesting concept, digital economy.
Yes, digital economy.
Okay. So, ma'am, as you know that our viewers are students of economics. So, what do you think digital transformation has in it for economic students?
So, yes, there are multiple career paths opening up this space. We have financial technology, that is fintech, work with startups and the firms developing digital payment solutions. Students can engage themselves in economic research and policy analysis. They can provide their inputs towards better policy transformation, and suggesting various measures to avoid or to overcome the cybersecurity and the risk, because students, and they are the future upcoming generation, right? So they are, and we as a end user of the solutions of digital transformation, this can help to shape laws and around digital transactions, to enhance cybersecurity and consumer protection.
So, I think our students can take hold of our digitally transforming economy. That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you, Richa ma'am, for your deep insight and enlightening discussion. So, as digital finance continues to evolve, it brings both opportunities and challenges for economies, policymakers, and individual alike. While a completely cashless society may not be imminent, the shift towards digital transactions is undeniable, shaping the future of financial systems worldwide. With that, we conclude today's discussion. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to more conversations on the transformative trends shaping the global economy. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.